Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Dr. Will show. I am here today. We're going to be talking about connected principles, and I am here with two awesome principals with Beth. I know I'm going to jack this up, but I'm going to give it a go. Hoof?
Huff.
Huff. All right.
You got it. That's all right.
Beth Huff. So I knew it. I knew it. I was just looking at it going, And then I'm here with Jay Billy as well. All right, people. So jump on board, check it out. And we're going to talk about connected principles and Twitter and all those good things. So, Beth, introduce yourself and tell the folks who and what you're about.
All righty. Well, my name is Beth Houf, and I'm a K-5 principal in Fulton, Missouri. I serve students in, like I said, K-5. We have about 400 students here, and including one that is my own, which is nice. It's nice to have my own kiddo here at McIntyre Elementary. And we have 19 classrooms and then several ancillary classrooms as well. And this year, we've become much more connected, so I'm excited to talk about that with you today.
Jay.
Okay, my name is Jay Billy. I'm K through 3 principal in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. We have about 295 students in my school, and I have brought as much technology as I can to our teachers, trying to get them to really connect with the outside world. I know Beth and I will both talk a little bit about how some join and some don't, but for me, especially connecting through Twitter has been a game changer and really has made a big difference. So yeah, I'm sure at some point we'll get to tell how we got that way. But yeah, it's really learned something every day in Twitter.
Yes, it is a fantastic medium for developing a personal learning network and getting the PD you want when you want it and how you want it. So let's start off by just asking, how did you both become connected?
All right. Am I going to get to start? Okay, I'll start. Well, this is a funny story. Well, 2 years ago, I have a teacher that is very connected, and she's amazing, and she got me started on developing a PLN, but I was in a place that I wasn't really ready for it. I didn't see the relevance too much. I still thought Twitter was more like Facebook, and I already had Facebook, and I was just not, I didn't have the right mindset going. And then I went last summer to the National Principal Conference, and that's where I met Jay. And Jay talked to me a lot about how he's connected, and I had the chance to see so many connected principals there, and I said, I've got to get going with this. And so last summer, in July actually, is when I had 40 followers, and I opened up my eyes a little bit more to what Twitter could do for me, and then through people that I met like Jay, I was able to learn how to do a Twitter chat and how that Twitter really is a game changer, and how Twitter can bring so much to our small community. We don't necessarily have opportunities to see some of the things that you can find on Twitter, so how it can just really bring so much to your school. So very much game changer for me this summer whenever I was really introduced to it.
Jay?
Similar story, actually. A year earlier, I was at the National Association of Elementary School Principals Conference in Baltimore that year. I had signed up I was on Twitter. Again, like Beth, I had a few followers. I didn't actively participate in a lot of different things. And I went to see Todd Whitaker, and at that, he basically said, if you're not on Twitter, you're falling behind. So I was on Twitter, but I wasn't really on Twitter, and I started following him and then following other people, and then started kind of really checking it daily and seeing all the great things that I could learn from it, and kind of got going that way. And then checked it and saw these things that I wasn't quite sure what they were, chats, and didn't know what I was doing at first, and kind of learned how to participate in a chat and learn so much from so many people. You talk about the PLN. Every day I would learn something and share. I would see articles and see relative, blogs that were important to what I was doing and what my staff was doing, and share with them and that's really how I became more connected. And then through other ways too, the blog writing and sharing through the Google Hangouts, and I'm just learning. I'm still, we're still learning every day, but it's amazing. A short story, and Beth can tell you a little bit too. One other thing that I did, we had a lot of snow last winter, and I missed my students. We had a day of school, and then we had 3 days off, and then we had a day, and we had 2 days off, and I was feeling disconnected. And I woke up in the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, which I wake up very early anyway, but I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out how I could connect with them. We knew more snow was coming, and so I talked to some of my tech guys, and they put me together with a format called, what was it, anymeeting.com, and I knew a snow day was coming, so I announced it, invited people, and we did live read-alouds on the snow day, which was a big hit. And Beth and I have shared that. That really changed things. Now, since then, we've switched over to the Google Hangouts, but it's really been wow. It was a big hit. It connected me back with the kids again. Where, like I said, I felt disconnected because we were having a day with we just were missing so much. So it was a great thing. So just all those technologies have really been helpful.
Awesome. Well, I got on Twitter when Twitter still was asking, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And so I'll get on and say, oh, I'm about to have a cup of tea, about to make myself a sandwich. And I did that for about 30 minutes, and I'm like, this is stupid. Let me just start having conversations with people. And I just started looking up sort of topics, and then I would find these people to follow. And that's sort of how I was introduced to the idea of a PLN and actually gaining this information and topics and career advice and all this stuff from other educators. So that's my story. So you're now connected. You're feeling it. Okay? You're excited. You got that Twitter buzz that we all get. And you say to yourself, I'm going to bring this back to my school. So, Beth, what was that process like? Channeling your excitement for it to bring it to teachers who, as you sort of referenced earlier, who may think, okay, Twitter is like Facebook. Twitter is trying to find out what Justin Bieber did last night and not something relevant to me as an educator.
Well, that is a great question, because that was my biggest fear, was coming back and coming on too strong and then turning people off to Twitter, because I feel like that can happen easily. I am a very excited and passionate person, and as a principal, I try not to overwhelm the staff, because I tend to go 110% on anything. When I find something, I embrace it big time. So what I did is I actually sat down with a teacher that is our tech person. She is so connected, and she just does she's always willing to try anything. And so she and I sat down and had lunch. We said, okay, what can we do? Because we knew it was bigger than Twitter. We knew that Twitter was kind of the door that opened everything else up. So we sat down and had a lunch meeting that was about 3 hours long, and we decided that we were going to team up for tech, and that's kind of what we've called. We have a blog that we've created, and we decided we really wanted to change the way we do staff PD. We wanted to make sure that we integrated all of these, not make it 21st century learning skills, not making it technology, but embedding different innovative tools such as technology into our staff meeting that we really wanted teachers to be able to use and see relevance for. Because if you don't see that it's relevant, then then what's the point? So we started out in August with building PLN, and the way that we brought it to the teacher's attention was all about personalized professional development. Figuring out, when you are on Twitter, you can look for PD that meets your needs, and it's not a one-size-fits-all, which it seems like in schools so much we're trying to make that happen for teachers, and it's not. I mean, every teacher has their own strengths and areas that they want to get better on. So whenever we went through at the beginning of the year, we're always setting goals and our building focuses and our evaluation focuses. So what my goal is for everyone to see the connections between teacher evaluation, teacher PD, and then these different tools that we were giving them. So we that really developing the why of why we're going to teach you all of these different tools, I think was the first step to getting teachers hooked on anything that you're doing, because they don't want to buy anything. They already feel like in education that people are trying to sell us all this stuff. So really creating that ownership. So our first staff meeting that we had, we actually went through the PLN process, and then we differentiated the PD because we had some teachers that were already on Twitter, and so they went with the other teacher. She's the gifted teacher of technology, and I'm the one that's it takes me a little bit longer. So she took those, and then she went to Google Plus with those teachers and really helped them with that. And then I stayed back and helped all of the rest of the staff get on Twitter and get started following people and talking about, okay, so our PE teacher was in there, so how can we find relevant PE teachers that you can follow, and then how to make it useful for them. So that was the beginning of everything, and that was in August. And then each month we've tried to embed some other form of technology, for the most part, of how it can make your life more as a teacher. First of all, there's so many ways to make it, because they always say, I need more time, I need more time. Well, there's so many tools that really help narrow the time for you. But then, too, just how can it make it relevant? And the number one thing is, how can this relate to student learning? That's what it's all about. Like, how can we make sure that we can ensure that all students are learning at high levels? And, Twitter was just the beginning of that, because of the things that we can find on there, the things that you can see other teachers are doing. So that was a long answer to a short question, but
Awesome, Jay. So how did you bring your enthusiasm back to your school?
Yeah, I'm the same as Beth. I get a little bit, and I probably care less that they get overwhelmed. But I started by just sharing things that I would find on Twitter through email. I would copy a link and share it. I did in my staff meetings. I helped them all learn how to get on Twitter. This year we've done a few things. Actually, we've again, besides making sure that they're all on, and believe me, they're not all using it. I wish they all were using it to the extent that I would hope. But some of my teachers are, definitely tweeting throughout the day things that are going on in their classroom, which is such a great part of talking, giving your story, telling your story of your school. I have teachers who are participating in chats now, and sharing, constantly sharing things that they find, through Twitter. Again, Beth talks about the tech piece. One of my teachers was really, involved in literacy and trying to find out more about becoming a better reading school, and spending time doing that. And she saw a teacher did a newsletter through S'more, and she brought that to our school. So all those things kind of tie together. They kind of come back to us. Each teacher that gets connected brings something back. And then, like Beth said, at staff meetings every month, I model some type of technology. I try to give them tools that don't necessarily overwhelm them, and I know I do overwhelm sometimes. I get that, but yeah, I get excited. So, but I think we're getting there. We do tweet of the day now, where every day I send out through the hashtag of our school. I go back and look through, and I award somebody tweet of the day, and at the end of the month somebody gets a gift certificate to Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. So just to kind of keep them motivated and involved. I think many of them do see the relevance and see the importance of the PLN part of it, and more and more I think we'll get more involvement.
Okay. So now you've introduced it. You're working it. Some teachers are on. Some teachers are not quite there. So how do you work to increase buy-in with teachers? Do you foresee making this or making Twitter a part of the overall I don't want to necessarily say mandated, PD, but something that uh, you tie in to their evaluation in some way?
Well, I'll talk a little bit more about building ownership. I think, I don't know if this is the right analogy or not, but I think if you have a toolbox and someone wants you to use a hammer on a screw, that's not the most effective tool. So you need to make sure that you're giving them the right tool for the right thing that they need. I know here I have a very amazing group of teachers, and they're gung-ho and they give 100% every day. So what I've tried to do is figure out ways to say, oh, here, this may be helpful to you, giving them that support, where I have others that are taking off on it. For me, some of the best ways to build ownership, we did a Twitter challenge, and then I gave away free hours off. Like, so I'd say, I'm going to cover your class for an hour, and just letting them get their feet wet with it. We had a speaker that came in at the beginning of the year, so we ran a hashtag for that within our school, and we had our Chromebooks out, and we also ran a Today's Meet, because I think some people aren't comfortable sharing publicly on Twitter, and so we actually kind of did a chat through Today's Meet and shared through that, or you could do Twitter. And so I think giving opportunities to feel comfortable at the beginning. I tweet out what the teachers are doing all the time. I feel like Twitter has become just as much branding for our school than it is. I do a lot of learning through it as well, but I also, every day, I'm tweeting out what our kids are doing and the teachers are doing. And then what I do for the teachers, I tag the teachers in every post. And so I think for them, they realize, oh wow, this is cool. Everybody out there seeing what I'm doing. So that's helped to build ownership. And then probably our biggest aha came in our last month. We have PD days every month. We have one full day, and for the most part, our school in the morning we're able to plan our day. And so we've done a lot of whole building and grade level and that type of collaboration. But what I keep hearing is we need more time to personalize learning. So we actually kind of had like a genius hour for teachers last month. And so for 3 hours, the teachers filled out their own personalized learning plan, and very similar to like a learning contract that we do with our students, the teachers had the chance to fill that out, and it had to relate back to our building goal. There had to be some type of a technology component, but they had 3 hours to truly become a producer of their own professional learning instead of just consuming what they may be sitting into. So, but what we did is then came together at the end of that and did a Twitter chat. And I was a little nervous because I wasn't sure how well everyone would do with that. We had some folks that are very, very much proficient in the use of Twitter, but we got in there and I took them step by step through how to do a chat. And we did the chat as a reflection of the morning PD. Like, why is this PD that we did today so important? And what did you learn? And would you want to do it again? And and they shared out with their colleagues all of the things that were happening in the morning. And really, now our whole idea is that we can do this without even coming together. We can do a chat at any time. So, and then the really cool thing that happened after that is we had been asked if we would co-moderate the Teach Like a Pirate chat that evening. So then we actually met at a local restaurant from 8 to 9 that night, and then co-moderated Teach Like a Pirate chat, which was amazing. It was amazing. We had so many teachers from our building that jumped in. It was their first chat ever, and that chat flies. So just those little things. You asked about, should it be mandatory? Could it be mandatory? I don't know. I feel like as soon as I make something mandatory, it loses a lot of its luster. And I think that you can take the best thing ever, and as soon as you make it mandatory, it just, you think about your favorite meal or your favorite drink, and you make everyone drink that. Or if I had to drink that or eat that every day, I don't think I would like it. And I think that we just have to be careful with the way that we use things. I know I'm working in our own district to allow Twitter chats or allow the use of Twitter to count as our state PD and our local PD, because it truly is. It truly is. I just think it has to be, it's much like anything else, like a book study or anything else. You just have to make sure that you're sharing how you're using it and, using it for the right reasons.
All right, Jay.
What was the question?
Sorry. Sorry.
No, I got it.
You might want to give me a time limit. Sorry. I get a little passionate about this topic.
That's awesome. Awesome. Our district, of course, each teacher's at a different level and a different comfortable comfortable with it. The thing that I feel like is a lot of the things that Beth is doing are amazing, and I try to do some of those things too. Some of my teachers are very comfortable. Some are a lot less comfortable on Twitter. Some are very comfortable with different kinds of technology. Some are not. Again, I try to model, use it, share, use it, share. You asked before about should it be made mandatory. What's mandatory is that my teachers give the best to the kids, and I think part of part of doing that is knowing, that this is important. That things that you can do on Twitter and things that you can find on Twitter, you can do other ways. There's other ways, but you better be doing them. I think that's the most important thing. We're doing the best things for kids and finding the best things. I'm going to share again. George Koros, who is a speaker, was here last summer. Talked. One of the first things he said was, "If you're not on Twitter, you're in danger of becoming irrelevant." And those are strong words, very strong words about the use of Twitter. But in some ways, I think teachers are scared that they are going to become irrelevant. And instead of acting and trying to connect through Twitter because they're afraid they don't have the time. Beth talked about, teachers always need time, and they don't have the time. They're afraid that once they connect that way, that'll be one more thing that they need to do, where it really can save them time. I can give probably a dozen different times between Beth and I, actually, where we found things and shared, and it saved us having to search for them for our staff, as well as for my teachers. If they're looking for something, or another principal will call and ask me something simple, and I would say, let me put it out to the PLN, and boom, we get the information back from 15 different sources. So I think seeing that power is very, very important. And little by little, I think we make inroads with the reluctant Twitter users, I guess you call them. I don't know. There's probably other words. But I think they see it. And I think to keep them from being afraid, I talk every day about taking risks and doing things that make you uncomfortable. And most of the time, the teachers are pretty good about it. You asked about evaluation. Should it be part of teacher evaluation? Again, what's part of teacher evaluation is, are they doing what's best for children? And if they're finding a different way to meet those a child's needs, I can't complain about that. I'm saying this is some way that can help them, and I give them this tool. So hopefully that makes some sense.
Okay, so we've talked about buy-in. So how about teacher frustration with the tool? And because I've led Twitter trainings and I've presented at conferences and actually wrote my dissertation on the topic. So when you look at the literature and even from anecdotal experiences, etc., one of the drawbacks, if you will, is the time that it takes to sort of create your network, because you can't get on Monday, send 2 tweets, and by Friday, have 500-600 followers, and all of a sudden, your network is like Google. I mean, it really, takes time to build those relationships. And so when you are and understanding hashtags and how everything works, so as you're working with teachers and you're starting to get that buy-in, how do you deal with frustrations when a teacher says, "Oh, I sent this tweet out about I'm looking for this resource for Google Doc, and no one responded to me. Twitter is no good," sort of thing. How do you deal with those frustrations of the fact that it actually will take time to build those relationships?
Alrighty. Well, I think for me, it's about the support and the modeling that I do myself. I am lucky to have built a very strong and fairly large PLN. So I think for me, it's matching up teachers with folks that I've already seen and know are doing different things. I have a 5th grade teacher here that was really struggling with just understanding the difference between a handle and a hashtag. And for me, blogging about that has helped because my blogs are archived. They can go back and reread it on their own. Some folks catch, like as we're doing a training, they catch on very quickly, which that's kind of another key is that, are you providing time for teachers to do this? And so and luckily for me as an administrator, I have the time to help devote that and making sure that I make it a really dominant part of our staff learning. If I'm expecting folks to do it, I need to make sure that I am guiding and modeling and giving them time to do it. So that's the first thing, really. But then, like I said, I had a 5th grade teacher that was really struggling with certain management things that she wanted to try for talkative kiddos. And so she put something out. Well, I retweeted it, and then I added 2 or 3 other 5th grade teachers to it that I knew throughout my PLN. And so that's how it kind of exploded and then they saw her handle and they started following her. Or I'll put stuff out and say, hey, you should really see what's going on with these, and every time that I tweet out throughout the day too, I have people that pick up. I know Jay follows several of my teachers because he sees the things that I tweet out. So I think it's just, being that kind of catalyst as an administrator and supporting them and then modeling what I expect. And so it seems to be the folks that complain the loudest are the same ones that complain about new standards or a new tool that we're using in literacy. So it's just, again, it's just making sure that the why is truly established and that the how isn't tricking them up there. So if they need that time, also, we don't have a tech integration specialist or anything like that. So we have people that fix our technology and bring us new technology, but no one shows us how to use any of that. So luckily, like I said, I keep bragging on, I'll just brag on her name out loud too, Casey Eckelmeyer. She teaches 4th grade here for us, and she holds Monday staff training every Monday for our district with no pay. She doesn't get anything extra, but she does that to help out. But she's also offered, like within her plan times or with another, and then I come up with ways of getting her in classrooms too. She helps and is side by side with some of those teachers. So those are just a few tools that I use. Jay?
Very similar to what Beth says. I model. If a teacher comes to me with a frustration because they don't get a response, I do the same thing. I share with people that I know or my PLN, or I'll reach out to Beth or some other principals in my district. I do have. I'm very lucky that in my district they. Most of our principals are pretty connected too, so they know people or things like that. But we've been able to really help them build their PLN to what they want it to be. And again, some of the simple things is if you follow an author, for instance, it's simple to find them on Twitter. And usually they respond if you reach out to them about simple things. And that's the power. That's the real power of Twitter in the classroom. Teachers, sharing with their students an author's response to some child's writing about a book that they read, things like that. So we've been pretty lucky that way. But most of the time, again, it's just modeling, sharing, getting my hands dirty with them, going in and I can tell you again, I'm no whiz, so everything I do it's brand new. I take it to a staff meeting after trying it one time, and we say, okay, let's say we're going to try to do this, and we do it, and a few of them will get the bug and take it to the next step, and a few will say, oh, that looks too hard for me. But for me, it's fun. Like I said, I love taking the jump and taking the leap. So that's been very helpful. The modeling piece is the biggest part, and like I said, just being willing to take the time to help them when they need the help.
Excellent. All right, so let's wrap up this fantastic show with some of your tips. So someone is going to watch this, I'm assuming, and they're going to watch the show, and then maybe they'll say, well, what's the pain point? What's the takeaway from this? And so, for those who are saying, particularly if you were to, let's say, bump into someone at a conference somewhere, and you want to, okay, these are some quick tips to sort of get you pointed in the right direction. What tips do you have for people out there?
Okay, well, I think for me, I always go back to, because I always try to consider myself as a teacher first in everything that I do. And so I always think about, okay, if I'm teaching in the classroom and someone wants to introduce something new to me that's going to help me be better at what I do, what am I, I can't just force it down someone's throat. And I think about when I first started with Twitter, it wasn't a hook for me. And if someone would have told me, you have to do this, I would have not been happy. I would have been very grouchy about the whole situation. I would have done it begrudgingly. But I think tips for getting folks is just building, like I said, building the why, helping with the how, and then making sure that it's the right tool for the right job. Don't try to get, make sure that you're really hooking them. And for me, and I've done this with different books too, we're very big in Teach Like a Pirate at our school, but I've never mandated teachers read that. I just definitely hook them with that book and say, hey, I've got 5 copies, the first 5, it's going to change your life. So that brings people in when you do those different hooks. So doing the same thing with Twitter is being excited and modeling that excitement yourself, and then doing the different things that I did. I think as an administrator, you just really have to also take time to notice when teachers are doing new things and when they're going outside of their box. One of our biggest tweeters, I guess you could say, this is her 31st year in education. So she sat alongside us when we were doing that chat, and she jumps in. So it's definitely not, that's another thing you have to think about. It's not an age thing. It's not how many years in education. You just have to make sure to find that relevance.
Awesome. Jay?
Beth, is 31 years a long time?
Comment.
My biggest tip for new Twitter users is that you can't see everything. Don't even try. Don't even try to go back. Take the last 10 tweets that came across once you get a few people that you follow, take the last 10 tweets that came across your feed and read those. If you try to read everything, or you want to see everything that came across, there's no way to do it. And then once you find a few people that you really like, then follow who they retweet. They're retweeting things from people of them. So really, it's like I said, don't let it overwhelm you. It can overwhelm you. As I said, I was a slow starter too, and it took me a while. And I used to just log on for 10 minutes while I was waiting for the gym to open in the morning. But in that 10 minutes, I would find 3 articles that I could share with my staff. And then, like I said, so my Twitter use grew from there, because I was like, this is amazing. I need to find out more and know more. And so, like I said, don't let it overwhelm you. Just really start slow, take your time with it. Don't feel, if you're not on for a day, don't feel like you got to go back and see everything that happened yesterday. It's okay. It really is.
I thought of something else too while he was talking. Also, I mean, you have to be slow, but also don't go so slow that you don't do it. So I think for me, I had to jump in head first once I find a buddy. I mean, that's what Jay helped me. My first chat, I was like, I don't even know what's going on, but I called him on the phone. I was like, okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? And so having that support is huge, but you need to just jump in there and not be scared of it either. You can always, I mean, we try to teach everyday digital citizenship, but you can delete a tweet. So if you have a spelling error, you can delete it, hopefully before everyone else has already retweeted it or something like that. But it's amazing the power of it. So I think sometimes teachers get worried about what they say isn't good enough to put out there to everyone else, and that's so not true. People have such a powerful voice, and this is one more way that you can let your voice be heard. So just get out there and do it.
Awesome. Now my tip is to keep it professional. Okay, you're going to build relationships with people, and people are going to become friends and all this good stuff, but keep it professional. Starting with your Twitter handle, okay, people? You don't need a Twitter handle named Luscious or Mr. Daydream. Your name, okay? Use your name, all righty? I advise not to say, Janice Jones, some elementary, because guess what? You might not work there anymore. And then you built this following, et cetera, et cetera. Your name. Also, your pics. we all, you get there, you may sit to pick your meal or your child doing their first steps and all this stuff, which is great. But if you like to knock back shots on Friday night, don't tweet that out and don't send that picture out. Because as we're talking about digital citizenship and digital footprint, that's out there. So your principal, your colleagues, superintendent, everyone can see all of that stuff. So let's keep it professional and let's have a good time and enjoy yourself while you're on Twitter. But again, hey, let's keep it clean and classy. Let's have a good time. But so again, thank you for being such awesome guests, and I definitely appreciate you for coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Will.
Dr. Will.
Appreciate it.